today's reading lesson, we are going to be reading a biography. Our topic this week for both of our stories is about visual art. In our story, The Dot, we talked about our essential question: what are some different ways to make art? A biography tells about events in a real person's life. This selection tells about more than one artist. We can find facts about the artist's lives as we read. Our text focus for this story will be captions. Captions tell more information about a photo or picture. You can use the captions and photos to find more about the pieces of art. As we're reading through our story, be looking for facts about a real person's life. Also be looking for if you can spot any captions in our story. Let's read our story, Artists Create Art, by Anne Rogers. An artist makes art. Some artists paint pictures. Other artists make things. David Wynn made this grizzly bear. It stands above a pond in New York. The caption above the picture says, David Wynn's sculpture, Grizzly Bear, is at the Donald M. Kendall Sculpture Gardens. And here we can see our picture of the grizzly bear sculpture. This next caption says, Seated Figures, study for a Sunday afternoon on the island of the Grande Jatte by Georges Seurat. Georges Seurat went to art school in France. Look at his painting. Once you have studied it, you will see it is made of many brush strokes. Are you surprised? Let's take a closer look. When I zoom into our picture, if you look very closely, you can see all of the different strokes that were made from the paintbrush. Look closely at the grass. You can see all of the different strokes that he used. You can also see down in the bottom right corner his last name. Just like how Vashti signed her name on her work, so did the artist for this painting. Teresa, Grandma Prisby, used glass bottles to make her art. She learned by herself. No teacher helped her. Grandma Prisby made the wishing well shown below. She even made a building where her grandchildren played. Here in the picture, you can see it says wishing well. In the picture, we can see that Tressa, Grandma Prisby, made this small wishing well, and they used this label to tell what was in the picture. What kind of art would you like to make? Would you like to paint? Would you like to build something? There are many kinds of art. I really enjoyed getting to talk about the different kinds of art that can be created. I know that some people in our class have made some art this week that they either showed us today or are wanting to show us tomorrow. As we read about in our story, The Dot, we learned that there are many different ways to make art. You can make art by putting dots all over your page, by drawing lines, by using markers, chalk, crayons, paint, and so many other things. Here in this story, we saw David Wynn use stone to make his sculpture of his grizzly bear. And we also saw that this artist created an entire piece of work by using all different brush strokes. This artist chose to create by using glass bottles to make her art. This is a great example that shows just even a few of the different ways that you can make your own art. I can't wait to see what everybody does to create their own pieces of art. Next, for our reading lesson, I'm going to have you complete 2 activities since we do not have school on Friday and we're going to be losing a day. So in your reader's notebook on page 154 and 155, I'm going to have you complete both of these activities. Our first activity only has 4 problems, and then the second page, you are just having to sort by the endings. So it is nothing we have not done before. Let's begin with page 154. So this is where it says adding ed and ing to words. Our directions tell us to circle the word that fits in the sentence. So far this week we have been working with our rules when it comes to adding endings to words. And so I will help read the first sentences on this page, and then you will choose the correct spelling of the word. Our first sentence says, the cowboy blank a cow. The word is wrote. The cowboy wrote a cow. Circle the correct spelling of the word wrote below, then write it in the blank for number 1. Remember our rules that we have talked about when a word ends with an E and what to do when you add ed. For sentence number 2, it says a clown was blank a red flag. The word to go in the blank for number 2 is waving. A clown was waving a red flag. Circle the correct spelling for the word waving, then write it in the blank for number 2. For sentence number 3, it says, the bull blank running. The word to go in the blank for number 3 is stopped. Look at the two words below and circle the correct spelling for stopped and also write it in the blank for number 3. And for number 4, it says Kate blank Silver. The word we are wanting to put in the blank is petted. Kate petted Silver. Look at the two words below and circle the correct spelling for the word petted. If you have finished filling in all of your blanks for page 154, we will then begin 155. If you are needing to pause the video to continue working, you can do so at any time. For page 155, we are working with sorting spelling words ending in ed and ing. Our activity is broken into 3 sections. The first section wants us to write the spelling words that end in ing, and the next section wants us to write the words that end in d, ed. For the last section, it wants you to write those spelling words that are the base words. This will be the words that do not use the ed or ing endings. So for number 1 and 2, look at the spelling words in the box and write the words that end with ing. For numbers 3 through 5, write the words that end with ed. And for the last section, write all of the remaining words that do not have ed or ing. Once you have completed both pages, you will be all done with your reading video. Remember that we are going to be checking our answers during our reading intervention time and also reading our decodable together. If you have any questions before then, please let me know, and I will see you soon.